This shit is not easy, but it's worth it. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's worth it. It's all about community. Spirituality is important. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's worth it.
All right.
PocaSPEAKS.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. We're about to go ahead and get into the topic for today. Of course, I need to start off by saying a couple things real quick before we go ahead and get into it. There are 2 classes that I have coming up. One is this Thursday. That will be on shadow work and ancestors. I'll be doing a 3-hour seminar on shadow work and ancestors, teaching you guys about how to heal, how to start your shadow work journey, how to get more in tune with your shadow work journey, how to utilize your ancestors while you're healing, how to make them a part of your journey and get that extra assistance with them. Okay. Also how to connect to our ancestors just in general. I'll also be going over that, and then I will be doing a Q&A at the end as well to answer any specific questions that you guys may have in regards to shadow work or healing. Okay, so if anyone is interested in this, again, this is this Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I think is 7:30 Central Time. If you are interested, then of course you can email me. My email is going across the bottom of the screen, or you can click the link in my bio and DM me on one of my social media accounts. I will respond. Okay. Now, the third week, I believe it's the third week. Yes, the third week of November, I'll be doing a class on birth charts and zodiology. Okay, this is for people who want to learn more about how to read their birth chart, how to decipher their birth chart, also how to use your birth chart to manifest, to grow, to be able to use it to figure out, what your day may be, or what you can expect from your day, or how to take advantage of your day. Okay, as well as the year, as well as the months. There's so many different things that go into birth charts and numerology. I'll also be going into detail in regards to all 12 zodiac signs, because in our chart we are not just our sun sign, which is our birthday sign that we usually resonate with. We are composed of many different zodiac signs. Both courses are only $35, which include $5 off of any healing or reading service. And you also receive a free birth chart with this particular course. So if you don't have your birth chart, you don't have to worry about it. I will be pulling birth charts for those who sign up for the class. So that way, by the time we get to the class, you'll have your birth chart. You'll have time to kind of read over it, get a feel for it, and then we'll go more in depth during the course. Okay, so those are the 2 courses that I'm offering for the month of November. Like I said, the first one is this Thursday. It is Thursday night. So if anyone needs to pay, I know some people get paid on Fridays. If you need to put half down just so that you can make the class and then pay the remaining on Friday, I am willing to do that because it is a little short notice. Also, if there are people who want to be a part of the zodiology class, the birth charts and zodiology class, definitely inbox me or email me as well so that we can go ahead and get your birth chart pulled so that you can start reading it and getting familiar with it. So by the time the class comes, you'll kind of have you'll have your foot in the door a little bit, and everything won't kind of sound like rocket science. Okay. So those are the two things that I'm offering as far as classes and courses. Of course, my spiritual life coaching services are still available, mentorships, consultations, therapy services, and a lot of other things, readings, okay, are also still available as well. The 8 card reading special will continue on throughout the month of November, so you don't have to worry about that. If you are interested, again, all of my information is going across the bottom of the screen. Use it, reach out, get the help you need, and let's move forward. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about overthinking. We're also going to be talking about being more present in the moment. I know overthinking is a huge hindrance to a lot of us on our journeys, being caught in our head, not being able to move forward past certain thoughts, or not being able to move to a different place because of certain thoughts. Whether that's having the same thoughts over and over, or whatever the case is, or whether that is, having new thoughts all the time, but thoughts that are not conducive to you or helpful to you. Okay, so number one, okay, starting off, I want to kind of talk about being present in the moment before we get all the way into overthinking. Okay, now a lot of you guys may hear often, on your journey, or just hearing other spiritual people talking about being present in the moment, or they also talk about going with the flow, or just again, just being present. Okay, you usually hear those two terms: going with the flow, being present, living in the moment, that type of thing, right? And it's not just a cliche. Okay, a lot of people may hear it and think that, oh, it's just a cliche, people just say that. No, there's a reason for that. Okay, now if we go a little bit into quantum physics, just a little taste, okay, I don't want to get too much in it, but if we go a little bit into quantum physics, we understand that time itself does not exist. There's no such thing as time, right? There's no such thing as 5 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. There's really no such thing as that. There's no such thing as January 21st, 2033. There's really no such thing as as any of that, right? Time was only created so that we can keep account of what has been going on, or keep account of when something happened, right? But time itself does not exist. So when we say time itself does not exist, it means that we do not operate off of time. Time does not affect us, not one bit, because it's something that we created in order to just keep up with what we have done and are doing. Okay, so time itself means nothing. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't really mean anything for us specifically. It doesn't change anything for us specifically. Nothing at all, right? So when we talk about being present in a moment, you first have to understand that you have to cut time completely out of your head. A lot of overthinking stems from time, right? We get caught into overthinking because we feel like either we're on the clock, right? We're trying to obtain something and we feel like our time is running out, or we feel like we don't have enough time, or, we usually relate, you usually can relate your overthinking to time, right? Whether you feel like you're behind, or whether you feel like you're not moving fast enough, or whether you feel like, you're waiting for something, or whatever the case is, it usually goes hand in hand with time. So the first step to eliminating overthinking is to eliminate the idea of time. Time doesn't affect you. Time don't mean a fucking thing. Okay? Success doesn't have a set time. Goals don't have a set time. Nothing has a set time. Shit can happen whenever it's going to happen, and it has nothing to do with a time. Okay? Nobody can say I'm going to reach my goals by 8:20, 3 months from now. That's not possible, because time doesn't exist. Okay, you reach your goals when you do the work to reach the damn goal. Point blank, period, right? You obtain the things that you want when you do the work to obtain the things that you want. Time don't have nothing to do with that. So the first part of, walking away from overthinking, or just being more present in the moment, is eliminating time. Okay, now one thing that helped me, if you have multiple devices, on my regular phone I have the regular time, but on my other phone, because I got a secondary phone, most of us have a secondary phone or a tablet or something like that, I switched it to military time. Now, why did I do this? So that I cannot keep up off immediate thought of what the fuck is going on, right? If I look at this other clock and it says right now, it says 14:42, I have to literally think in my head, okay, 14 means 2 o'clock, right? I have to compute that in my head. Just me looking at it is not going to really do nothing for me, right? So that's one thing that I use to kind of take my mind off of time and to kind of distance myself from time. Now, of course, the more you get familiar with military time, then you'll be able to look at it and be like, okay, it's 1500, which means that it's 3 o'clock, okay? Or yeah, 3 o'clock, of course. But you won't, because we weren't taught, or if you wasn't raised on military time, it kind of throws you off just a little bit, which is enough for you to be present, right? It's enough for you to not be worrying. Like when I look at a regular clock and I see 2:43 in my head, it's almost 5 o'clock, right? So in my head, it's almost 5 o'clock. I immediately jumped from the current time to thinking about what is ahead because of time, right? So now instead of me just saying, oh, it's 2:43, which means, let me do whatever I need to do, or let me keep doing what I'm doing, or let me, go ahead and start working on something else. Instead, I've jumped to 5 o'clock in my head, which made me jump to 8, which made me jump to 10, which then is telling me the day is almost over. So now in my head, I'm in a state, a state of worry or anxiety, or now I'm in a state of rush because I've looked at the time. The time is telling me that I'm closer to another time, right? Which is closer to the end of the day. And now all I can focus on is trying to rush and get shit done because I done paid attention to time, right? Another way that we look at time is if something is going on, let's say you are, planning to launch a business, or you're planning to do something or to go somewhere or whatever the case is, right? And you look at the calendar. And according to that calendar, you see, okay, let's say I have to get something done by the 30th, and today is the 15th, right? Now I'm looking at the calendar. I don't see that I have 15 days to get it done and to be successful. I see that I have 15 days left, right? So because I'm looking at it, and the way that I'm looking at it is changing the way that I see it, right? The way that I see it is affecting how I feel about it, which affects the actions that I take. We talked about this on Monday in the Message Mondays reading. Definitely go check that out. Okay? So the way that you see things dictates the way that you feel about it, which dictates the actions that you take toward it. Okay? It's kind of like looking at the glass half empty versus half full, right? When we get caught up in time, we're usually looking at the glass half empty. That's our mentality. When we're looking at a clock, we're looking at how much time we got left to hurry up and rush. When we're looking at a calendar, we're looking at how many days we got left to hurry up and rush, right? Instead of saying, oh, damn, I got, let's do 24 hours times 15. Okay, 15 days will be 360 hours. Instead of saying, I got 300 some hours to get this shit done, I'm saying I got 15 days, and now it's going to put me in a constant state of worry. Now, every time I look at the calendar and the date changes, I'm getting even more worried. Now it's causing me to overthink even more. Okay? So stop looking at calendars to a certain extent, because of course the world is governed by time. We made time a huge part of our lives. So to a certain extent, right? Don't get so caught up in calendars. Don't get so caught up in the time, because this is going to lead to overthinking, especially if you are not in a place where you can see those things and think more positively. Until you get to a place where you can see a calendar or see a clock and not immediately go to stress and worry, then you don't need to be paying attention to that. Okay? So this is going right back into being present in the moment. Being present in the moment literally means that I am aware of what's going on in this exact moment. Not thinking about tomorrow in this moment, not using this moment to think about next week, not using this moment to think about next year, not even using this moment to think about 30 minutes from now. I'm using this moment to think about this moment. Okay? And that may sound like duh, of course, but when you really sit down and you think about it, our minds are usually 15,000 steps ahead than where we currently are. And we wonder why we cannot program ourselves or to move forward, or why we are taking so long to get to where we're trying to get to, because we're not in the moment. So when you're not present in the moment, you're not focused on things that are currently going on. Right? Imagine if you woke up every day and you just dealt with the things of that day, then tomorrow will be taken care of. The reason why tomorrow isn't taken care of and you get to next week and shit is still not done is because you use all of your present moments in the past to focus on the future. So you couldn't focus on fixing the future, right? Because you've been so focused on the future in advance. The way that we dictate the future is in the now. What we do today, what we're doing right now in this very second, in this very moment, is what's going to dictate the next couple of moments. What we do today in this very second, this very moment is going to dictate tomorrow. And that's what we don't understand. We think that whatever we focus on right now is going to fix next week. That's not how that works. Whatever you're focusing on right now is not going to fix next year. That's not how that works, right? The present moment can only fix and aid the next present moment. That's it. We are always in the present moment, and you should mentally always be in the present moment. If I can't put my body in next week, then how the hell I'm gonna put my mind in next week? I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen next week. That's why I'm not religious, y'all know, but the Bible has a lot of jewels and gems in it if you read it the right way. Okay, perspective is everything. But it says the fowls of the air don't even worry about their next meal. That means the birds don't even worry about what they're going to eat tomorrow. The birds don't even stress. Okay? And they live outside. They're not even worried about where they're going to get their next worm because they expect it to be there. They're not worried about where their next meal is going to come from because they already know tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to hunt and I'm going to find me some food. Why am I hunting thinking about next week? That's crazy as hell. The fowls of the air don't even have to worry. So if the birds don't even got to worry about what the fuck is going to happen tomorrow, why are you worried about what's going to happen tomorrow? And you are 100% consciousness. Come on now, right? So of course, in the beginning, it's not just going to happen overnight. You're not just going to wake up being present in the moment. It don't work like that. Okay, you're not just going to wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm so present, I'm not worried about nothing. That's cap. Okay, and even when you get to a place where you are more present in the moment than you have been, you're still going to have those moments where you get worried, where you get caught up, because we're still in the matrix, right? A lot of spiritual people really get on my nerves and act like, oh, I escaped the matrix, oh, I don't, none of that shit phases me. Shut the fuck up. Yes, it do. Unless you have died and gone on to the next spiritual realm, then you are still in the matrix, my love. Okay, so at some point we are going to be affected by the world around us at some fucking point. This is why we have to give ourselves grace. Okay, this is where giving yourself grace and compassion and understanding comes in. It doesn't matter that you're spiritual. That don't mean beat yourself up. It doesn't matter that you're spiritual. That don't mean talk to yourself crazy and down yourself and make yourself the donkey of the day. That's not what that means. Okay, we are spiritual, but we also have an understanding that our environment does and will forever affect us to some extent. That's just common fucking sense. All right, so stop trying to be the supreme spiritual person that don't make no mistakes and don't do nothing wrong and just lives this stress free, just daisies, lilies, and sunflower ass life, because that's not reality. Okay, we know yin and yang duality is a part of the laws of the universe. So it can't be happiness always and it can't be sadness always. The two have to coexist. All right, so you can't always have good moments and you can't always have bad moments. So take your time with this process. Overthinking is something that we have all been a victim of, and we will all continue to be a victim of at some point. Okay, it happens, right? But the thing is, spirituality gives us the tools to combat what we are used to. That's what spirituality does. Spirituality doesn't change life. Okay, it's not going to make the world different and everybody's going to wake up and be different. No, it doesn't change everybody around you. It changes the way that you respond to the shit that everybody deals with, because we all going to deal with the same shit, and we all deal with the same shit at different points of our lives with different people, different energies, and different experiences. Okay, but our response to it is what distinguishes spiritual people from those who are just out here. It's the way that we respond to the problems. We always gonna have problems. I don't want nobody coming into spirituality thinking that your problems is just gonna disappear because you love your ancestors. No, babe. You will always have problems, challenges, lessons, and everything else, right? But your response to those things will change the more you tap in and the more spiritual you make your lifestyle. Okay? Because spirituality is a lifestyle. It's a decision that you have to make every day, right? Yes, we are spiritual. Yes, we came into spirituality and we love it here. And YOLO, we gonna stay here forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Okay? But at the end of the day, you gotta choose spirituality every day. Because some days I don't want to be spiritual. Right? Some days I want to just lay in the bed and get lost in my negative ass thoughts. I ain't got to tell the truth. I tell the truth for you. Some days I don't want to get up. I want to be negative. I want to be the negative Nancy. Yeah, I don't want to be positive Patty. I want to be negative Nancy some days. I want to wake up. I want to cuss everybody out. I want to call people ugly. I want to do mean things. I want to say rude shit. Okay? I don't want to wake up and encourage y'all every day. Why the fuck would I want to do that? Life is life and for everybody. Don't nobody want to wake up and be nice all fucking day. Don't nobody want to wake up and be in people's face all day. Don't nobody want to do that, right? But we learn to respond differently. So now if I'm feeling those ways, I know because of my spirituality, I can take some time for myself. I can rest. I can rejuvenate my energy. I can go meditate. I can go take a walk. I can go exercise. I can do some breathing. I can do some yoga, right? Because now all of these tools have been given to me. Same thing with overthinking. Overthinking never stops, right? You're never going to be in a place where you just never overthink anymore, or you never get lost in your thoughts anymore. That is the process that will continue to come and challenge you, right? But your response will be different once you have the tools to combat it, okay? So let's talk about some of the things that we usually overthinking about, right? Most of the things that we overthink about for real at the top of the list are based on society, right? Society, whether it's money, whether it's status, social status, whether it is support, okay, whether it's education, whether it's your job, your entrepreneurship, whatever it may be, right? Those things are all linked to society, right? Society has, especially now in 2023, has convinced people some type of way, shape, or form that things happen overnight. Okay. Society has really convinced people or made people really believe that you're just going to wake up one day with $1 million in your bank account. And that's just not how that goes, right? Or that you are supposed to be at a certain place of status by a certain age. Oh, you 30? Oh, you should at least have a house. Oh, you 30? Oh, you should at least have a job or two. Oh, you 30? You should at least have some kids or business. Oh, you should at least do this. You should at least travel somewhere by now. You should at least been on a plane. What the fuck do my age and how many times I done left around the sun have to do with me accomplishing anything? It don't. Okay, nobody said I had to go once I hit 40 times around the sun, then I'm supposed to have kids. Once I hit 25 times around the sun, I'm supposed to have shit figured out. Who is anybody to tell you how many experiences you need in order to get where you're supposed to go? That's crazy as hell. That makes no sense, right? Everything that we go through happens for a reason. There's no such things as coincidences. I tell you that all the time. Coincidences don't exist. Things don't just happen just because. No, there's always a cause and effect. Something always happens because of something. We can't get something from nothing. That's not how that works. Okay, you gotta have something there in order to create something else. If there's nothing, then there's nothing. What the fuck is we gonna do with nothing? Nothing. Okay? So something has to come from it, or something has to already be there in order for you to either transform that thing into something else or use what you have to create something new. Okay? So if you look at that, if you take that analogy and you apply that to life, you have to have experiences in order to grow. You got to have knowledge of certain things in order to apply that knowledge and have success, right? Everybody experiences lessons at different paces, at different times of their lives, in different orders. So how is there a set time or a set age that something should be accomplished if we are all going through the transitions of life and the stages of life at different times, in different places, with different people? And we are different. Let's talk about the source, right? You as the source is different. You're not even like the people around you. You could be a twin. There could be two people with the same genetic material, and they still would have different thoughts, different feelings, and different processes of themselves. There's no two people the exact same in this motherfucking world. Period. You're not going to find the same exact thing in the animal kingdom. You're not going to find the same exact thing in the bacterial kingdom. There are no two things identical. There's going to be something that's a little off. Something that's a little different, whether it's the size, whether it's the shape, whether it's the mentality, whether it's the energy, whatever it is, something's going to be different. So if we're not using the same basic people, the same basic energies, how can we have the same basic times to get things done? Okay? So if you are overthinking because you're looking at people around you and you see that they say that you got to be successful at this age, or you see people who are younger than you and you feel like, oh, damn, I should have been had what they had. I could have been had that at their age and blah, 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 blah. What you're doing is pulling yourself out of your own present moment and trying to put yourself into somebody else's shit. This is when you start overthinking. This is when you start fucking up. This is when shit starts going off course. Because you're no longer focusing on your stuff. You paying attention to what everybody else got going on. And now you're butchering yourself and beating yourself up and down your own throat because you paying attention to somebody else's shit. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. If we all have different destinations, how will we all have the same journey? Okay? If the damn destination is different, how the fuck we all gonna get there the same way doing the same shit? That don't even make sense. Okay? And that was one of my biggest issues. I never was the type of person that really hated on what people had necessarily, but I did used to feel some type of way if I felt like my shit wasn't up to par and theirs was. Like, I'm not mad that you got it, but I'm mad that I don't have it for myself. If that makes sense, right? That used to be my thing, especially when it came to when I first started my business and I would see other people who were in the same business as me, and I'm seeing them do some, certain things and they're getting instant success. And I'm like, well, damn, that shit don't never work for me like that. What the fuck? And then I would try to go do it the way that they did it. Not because I'm trying to take what they got, but because I want the success for myself, right? I want my shit to be successful. So I used to be like, okay, I'm the type of person that's always been like, teach me the game, ghost. I love calculations. Okay, I'm a Gemini. I'm an air sign. So anything that stops me from doing too much deep thinking, I love that because I think all day long, right? So I always love calculations. I like methods. I like plans. If you can tell me 1 + 1 = 2, I love that because every time I put in 1 + 1, it's going to equal 2 every time. Right? And a lot of us are like that. We like for shit to go the way you said it was going to go. We don't got time for no detours. We don't got time for no side streets. We don't got time for no exits or no roundabouts. If you said to walk 5 miles up the street and once I hit mile 5, I'm going to have this, then that's what I expect. Right? And I had to get out of that because I'm not that person. So it may have taken them to get to mile 5 and they got it, but it might take me to get to mile 7. Or I might need to go to mile 10. Who knows? I might have to only do mile 3. But because I'm so focused on what they doing and I'm no longer focused on what I'm supposed to be doing, now I'm in my head. Now I'm overthinking. Now I'm holding myself to these crazy ass standards that nobody came up with but me. right? Or I'm holding myself to what society is telling me, right? Now we're in a day and age where you see a lot of the younger generation being very, very wealthy very quick, okay, in a lot of different ways that I would never do. But you just see a lot of wealth, and especially in Gen Z, right? Gen Z, millennials, there's a lot of wealth in our generation as far as quickly accumulated finances, right? As far as, quick success, overnight type of things, right? But we don't know what all went into those things. We don't know what they had to sacrifice, what they had to sell out to, what they had to give up. We don't know. We just see the result. And that's kind of how it works. We're so result focused that we no longer, are paying attention to the journey. Every journey is different, right? There could be two people that are barbers, but the way that they became barbers are going to be two totally different stories. There could be three people who are estheticians, but the way that they got there could be three completely different stories, right? There's several hundred millionaires, but they don't all have the same story. Some of them never went to college, never went to school. Some of them ain't never been to school, period. They don't even have an elementary school education, but they making millions of dollars, right? So based on society, would that person be a millionaire if we went based on society standards? Fuck no. Because according to society, you got to go to college. You got to get your little degree. Okay, you got to take these classes and courses. Okay, you gotta have this, you gotta have that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and that's not reality, because there are people who show you that that's not reality. But when you follow your own path, you don't have to go based on anybody else's rules or expectations or laws or whatever the fuck they come up with in their head. You go based on you. So as I learn, I grow, period. So if I'm focused on my shit and I have a challenge in front of me, anytime I'm presented with a challenge in life now, because before, when I would be presented with a challenge, to me that meant that I was doing something wrong. Automatically. Automatically. If something in my life started to go a way that I didn't want it to go, or started to change against my consent, or anything was just happening against my own control, I immediately thought that my life was taking a turn for the worse. Like, this shit is over. It's going downhill. I'm failing. Shit is horrible. It's about to be fucked up. When in reality, I was being presented with a challenge. And anytime you are presented with a challenge, you are presented with an option to grow. That's why we have challenges. Challenges don't come in our life just to, smack us around and bully us and shove us in the dirt and make us their bitch. No, a challenge comes to help you. It is an aid. Right? The same way you would utilize college, the same way you would utilize high school, middle school, elementary school, or any type of other subclasses or courses or whatever the case is the same way you utilize your challenges in your life. These are opportunities to grow. And if you're being faced with a challenge, that means that the spirits around you and your higher self knows that you are ready for the next stage. What we usually do is we would get presented with a challenge and then we get stuck in that challenge. Why? Because we start to do what? Overthink. Your head and your mind, you see something happening and you then jump to all of the worst shit. All of the worst shit. Right? All the worst shit. For example, right? When I was 20, I think I was 20. This is when I first started working I had my first little government job. Now, I was raised by baby boomers for the vast majority of my childhood, before, middle school and high school, really before high school. I was raised by baby boomers, okay? So with them, it's a little different. It's, they have a different outlook on life. Everything to them is about college, government job, benefits, things of that nature, right? So I was always raised hearing that you got to get you a good government job, because my great aunt, who raised me with my grandmother, they're sisters. They lived in the same house and they both raised me. They were really, really big on education, number one, because my great aunt, she's a Gemini as well. She, moved from North Carolina and went to school, got her degree, which is real big, for them, especially the baby boomers and on back, right? Because they're closer to slavery and the sharecropping times, right? So being able to move up to DC or Maryland and get a little degree, you're popping. Coming from North Carolina, you popping, right? So in their head, society made them think that that's the way to go. If you want to be a black person that's educated in America, that has things going for themselves, and is successful in America, you got to either get a government job and you have to go to college. There's no maybe. You gotta go. So I was hearing about college when I was in Pampers and pull-ups. They was talking about college and shit, right? So me being raised in that type of environment, by the time I got 20, I had a couple jobs before that. I worked at Safeway, which is a grocery store for those who don't have Safeways in their area. I worked at Charlotte Russe, which is a clothing store. I did door to door for an electrical company and a gas company, lowering people's monthly bills and shit like that. I love that because it was easy for me and I made a lot of money. But then it started getting cold, and I don't be outside in the cold because I'm black, and that's crazy. So I did, a lot of things prior to that. And I also, sold life insurance and help people with debt and all type of stuff. Okay, I was always an entrepreneur at heart, so I love stuff where I can make my own schedule, do my own thing, whatever. So by the time I got 20, now I got a little bit of work experience under my belt. I never went to college, never went to school, and my whole family felt some type of way about that, except my mom. My mom was never really big on school because she was able to get a government job and she didn't go to college. And she's still working on her job, right? So she didn't really care about that. She just felt like you just need to make some money and work so you can take care of yourself. That was my mother's whole thing. But my father's side of the family was school, education, things of that nature. And it was my father's mother and his aunt, which is my great aunt, that raised me. So of course that mentality carried on to me. My father went to college, you know what I'm saying? He did a couple classes and things of that nature and got a really good job as well. So by the time I hit 20 and I got my first little government job, I'm like, oh yeah, we doing this motherfucker. Okay, I'm in there. All right, I was working for the immigration office, and I was a data entry person, and I was on real good. The people loved me there. Geminis, we social butterflies. Wherever we go, and we learn fast. So I was doing special projects for some of the executives and all type of stuff, right? Just because of who I was, how fast I learned, how fast I was able to get shit done, and things of that nature. So I thought I was popping. I'm like, the girl finally got her little government job. I'm doing my thing. I got fired, y'all. I got fired from the damn job, okay? And it wasn't all the way my fault. Okay, one of the a little background story. One of the girls there, didn't like me. She felt some type of way. Okay, as always. Okay, and we had these little carts that we would push our files around on because we used to go through a whole lot of files a day. There's so many people that try to get into the country. Okay, so in immigration, it's just walls of papers and rooms of papers and files and stuff that we have to keep sorted out and things of that nature. So we would have a cart, and basically she hit me with the cart but tried to act like it was an accident. Yeah, I don't even play like that. So the next day she had left and I didn't get to see her, after she did that shit because I was at work. But the next day she was there and I hit her on purpose and she fell over and flew. Okay, because don't play with me. And I got called in the office and they said I was bullying and they don't tolerate bullying and I got fired, right? So when I got fired, my life was in my head, my life is over. Okay, I had a good government job and I got fired from it, even though I was contracting. And I always tell people do contracts because you get more money. So I was making a nice coin and I was working overnight a little bit. So you get that overnight differential, you get that difference. Baby, I was bringing home, about 1,200 every 2 weeks. As a 20-year-old, I was popping. Okay, 1,200 every 2 weeks. What? I was on one. I was lit. But okay, that happened. So I'm just distraught. At this point in my head, I have completely fucked up, right? Because again, I was raised with this idea that I gotta be college educated or I gotta have a government job or I ain't gonna be shit. Now, I definitely had a college education, and I don't like school, so I wasn't going back. Once I had sent in my FAFSA information, and it was too late, and they was like, "Oh, well, you just have to do it for next semester." Nope, never did it, and I was like, "Fuck it." To me, that was a sign. Okay, I'm big on, like I said, I never believed in coincidences, even before really, really getting more into my spiritual journey. But to me, that was a sign, right? I don't have to go to college. The fuck? So when the shit didn't go through, I'm like, okay, I'm about to just go get it. Because I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I'm like, I'm just going to figure out how to start my own business, do my own thing. Okay, and I did lots of different things. I had radio shows and sold clothes and all shoes and all type of shit. Okay, when you talk about jack of all trades, I done tried it all. So when I finally got that position, and I was on it for a couple months, and everything was going good, and then I got fired. To me, my world is crumbling down. I must have fucked up. I did something wrong, and that put me into like a 6-month depression. Anybody who's ever been fired from a job that they felt like was real good, or a job that had great benefits or great pay, or just a job period, that is some depression 101 for that ass. Okay, especially when it's hard getting a job anyway. Okay, getting a job to any degree is not easy, period. But to get a job of that magnitude with no college education and then be fired from it, that fucked my whole world up. So it turned me against myself because I wasn't looking at it in a conducive way, right? I was looking at that as an ending instead of a new beginning, right? Now, of course, when you get fired from your job and you got to start figuring out money again and figuring out this again and that again, it doesn't feel good, right? And because it doesn't feel good, or because we feel like we're back where we started from, it puts us in this Debbie Downer energy. It puts us in this low vibrational energy and this negative energy and this, am I good enough? Am I worth it? Am I smart enough? You start to question yourself and your abilities and your gifts and your talents, and you basically turn on yourself, right? Instead of looking at it as, I fired my boss and gave myself an opportunity to work for myself. I said that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. How the fuck am I be an entrepreneur if I get comfortable in a job? Hello? How am I ever going to push myself to do the hard work of becoming a business owner if I'm comfortable where I am? And spirit knows me enough to know, my higher self knows me enough to know that if I get comfortable, I'm not moving. Because I told you before, I like methods. I like calculations. I like to put the same shit in and it calculates the same every time. If I put in 1 + 1, I need it to be 2. The moment I put in 1 + 1 and that shit say 3, what the fuck going on? Stop the press. Okay? Stop the press. Run the cameras. We need to figure out what's going on. Right? But it can't be like that all the time. And this is when we get into these spaces of control. One of the other biggest reasons why we overthink is because we are controlling. We don't want to go with the flow because going with the flow is unpredictable. If I go with the flow, that means I don't know what the fuck may flow to me. And that's scary. So I'd rather just try to control every single thing and dictate everything with a fine-tooth comb so that it goes my way. But what if my way ain't the way? What if my way takes 10 years when me doing it the way that I need to do it only takes 3? Now, let's say I wouldn't have got fired from that job. I would still probably be working there right now to this day. To this day. Why? Because the pay was good. I was able to do what I needed to do. Okay? I was living with my mother at the time, momentarily. I moved out like a couple months after that. But I wasn't paying no house bills like that. I was only 20. I was lit. I wouldn't have moved nowhere, and I was able to work in the afternoon to the evening because I'm not a morning person. I don't like getting the fuck up early. That ain't me. Even with my business now, I don't start taking consultations, calls, services, nothing till noon because I like that bed. All right, I'm up half the night. I like to be up at night. I've always been a nighttime person because I can think. I can function. The house is quiet. Everybody's shutting the fuck up. And I can get shit done. So I've always liked the nighttime. Okay? So when it's early, I don't like getting up early. So that job was perfect for me. I was able to make more money than the people around me because I was able to work the nighttime, right? Or I would work from like 2 to like 10, something like that. So I was lit, right? So I wouldn't have moved. I wouldn't have went nowhere. And the position I was in, I wasn't close to a height or a cap. So I had room to grow if I wanted to. I could have moved on to being a supervisor and then moved on to being a manager and then moved on to being an executive supervisor and then, an executive manager and some more shit. Right? But Spirit knew I couldn't be there much longer. Because if I would have stayed, I would have stayed. Okay? And I'm the type of person that in a lot of things, I have to be pushed out of it. And you got to know that about yourself so that you know when that's happening, right? When it comes to relationships, I got to be pushed out of it because I stay. I try to work it out. I'm a Gemini. I'm understanding. I'm going to sit down and talk to you. So why do you think you fucked up? Or why do you think that you had me fucked up? Or why did you think that it was okay to have me fucked up? What happened in your childhood? Now I'm going to try to get down to the nitty gritty. Instead of leaving your motherfucking ass, I'm going to try to psych you and be your therapist. Right? So I got pushed out of a lot of relationships by force. I had to get pushed the fuck out. They had to break my heart. Spirit had to make them break my heart or fuck me over or cheat on me or have a baby on me or something in order for me to get the fuck. Because I wouldn't have did it. Right? So if you know that you're a type of person that gets comfortable and stays in comfortable situations, you got to get used to Spirit kicking your ass out of stuff. And once you get used to Spirit kicking your ass out of stuff, then you know when that's happening. So now I know when certain things happen, like for example, there's been friendships recently, probably about 2 years ago, I was kicked out of a friendship. When I say I was friends with this person down, I had their motherfucking back, front, middle, side, up, down, round, around. I thought we was like this. Besties on besties on besties on besties. That's my twin of them. Okay? One of them type friends. Like, damn, bitch, where have you been all my life? That type of thing. Right? One day I woke up, the bitch blocked me. I said, what the fuck going on? And me being me, I'm confrontational. Not in a bad way all the time, but I'm gonna confront you. Okay, I don't do all of the back behind your back, round around, loop the loop, go to everybody around you who know you, your mama, your daddy. I'm going to the source. What's up with you? What the fuck going on? Right? And Spirit made it to where I could not repair that friendship because it was so much damage that was done in the way that that person left the friendship that I couldn't go and recover that. Because I stand on business and morals and values and principles and shit. Okay? And I don't care how much I love you, I will love your ass from across the street if I have to, if it's going to keep my peace and my sanity. But Spirit knew that I wouldn't have left that friendship. Even though the friendship stopped being mutual, I found myself giving more, putting in more, right? Taking the friendship on my back. Because that's the type of person I am. I've always been that type of person. I'm a leader. I'm a life path one. Okay? So I'm going to carry everybody on my back. That's just me. I don't mind it. My back's strong enough to do it. But you can't carry everybody. Right? Everybody don't need to be carried. Everybody don't need to be gang, twinning them gangy. My little brother hate when I say gangy, but ever since I heard Casanat say that, I can't stop saying it. I just love it. Gangy. He said it's gay, but I don't care. But everybody can't be your twin in them. Everybody can't, go with you to the promised land. Even Moses had to leave some people behind. The waters caved in on the motherfuckers that couldn't go. Right? But a lot of us are people who, again, we want to control things so much, and usually it stems from childhood trauma. If you go back and you look at your childhood, look at how many things happened to you outside of your control. And a lot of us made a mental note that anytime we get presented with something that's outside of our control, we're going to force it. because we don't like that, right? We started to make mental notes as children. Oh, my mama didn't love me the way I wanted to. That was outside of my control. I ain't had my daddy around. That was outside of my control. I had to, be around these people. That was outside of my control. There's certain things that happen to us, right? Whether it was sexual, whether it was emotional, whatever. As a child, that was outside of our control. So we became adults who wanted to control everything because we were children who couldn't control anything. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Yeah, I felt the same way when that epiphany hit me and smacked me in my motherfucking forehead. I felt the same way. Yep. It just snapped. It just clicked for some of y'all, didn't it? I know. Yep, I know. That's why shadow work is important. You think I be on here talking about shadow work and childhood healing just for my motherfucking health? Everything goes back to your childhood. When you are a child who has everything happen to you outside of your control and is negative and is painful and it hurts, you become a scorned, bruised, scared adult who becomes over controlling. Now you want to control everything because at one point you were defenseless. You didn't have no say so. So now you want to have all the say so. But we don't need to have all the say so all the time. Now, there will be moments in your life where you will have to have the final say and you will have ultimate control. Absolutely. But sometimes you need to take a step to the fucking side because your idea may not be the best idea for where we're trying to go. The way you want it to go may not be what's best for you. And you got to be okay with that. All right? This is why listening to your intuition is so important because it's not coming from nobody else. The only person you need to listen to is yourself. But what you are confused on and what a lot of people are confused on is who yourself actually is. Yourself isn't the person that went through all of those bad things. That's not who you are. Yourself is not the person who experienced all of those bad things. No, yourself is the higher self who has been here multiple times. Yourself is the higher self who chose to come back here to learn who the fuck you are, to heal, and to get the job done. That's who you are, babe. So when I say listen to yourself, I mean your higher self, the real you, not the vehicle that we control on a day-to-day basis, right? Because this is the vehicle that we drive every day. We got to put the oil in this motherfucker so it run right. That's why food is important, right? You gotta do maintenance, or you gotta work on the wires and stuff. That's why feeding your brain is important. Okay, you gotta go make sure that motherfucker's been maintained properly and everything else. Think of your body as a car. Okay, literally, think of your body as a car. But who drives the car? Does the car drive itself? No, the person that gets into the car drives the car. And a lot of y'all letting the car drive itself. Okay, Tesla, sit down. Y'all out here trying to be Tesla. Manual driving is what we're doing, not automatic cruise control. We're not doing that. Manual driving. Okay? This is why opening that pineal gland, doing your meditations, talking to your spirit team, having that connection with your higher self, journaling, doing your shadow work, all of those things help you live the life you want to. If you're just focused on, let's say your goal is success, right? Let's say your ultimate goal is to have a certain amount of money, to be living in a certain place, to have a certain type of house, to drive a certain type of car, to wear certain types of clothes, whatever the case is. Let's say that is your ideal future, right? You got to be healed to get there. You got to be healed to get there. Why? Because it is you that has to get there. So if you are in bad condition, that's like driving a car on a flat, trying to get 25 miles down the road. That car can't go there, babe. The tires are flat. So now you're going to fuck up the rims and everything else trying to drive on flat tires. Right? So you are what is needed to get to the things you're trying to get to. So if you're not in your right mind, if you can't have a clear thought, if you always overthinking about things that don't matter, if you stuck in your head, if you're not present in the moment, if you being a negative Nancy, how the fuck you think you're going to get all of these beautiful things that are on a high vibrational wavelength? The things you're asking for are up here, but your mentality is down here. It's a gap. There's a gap there. I don't know if you noticed. See how my hands, there's a gap in between? Yeah. Because that means you got to do things in order to rise. That's why they call it rising above the bullshit. You got to know who you are, because when you know who you are, you know what to and what not to entertain. That includes people, places, and things. Environments. Okay? So when you know who you are, you're able to navigate this road a lot different and a lot better. This is why spirituality, like I said in the beginning, changes the way that you react. It doesn't change life for you. I mean, if that's the case, anybody who just proclaimed to be spiritual, their whole life would just change immediately. If you could just be spiritual and your life change. Then once I open my mouth and say, I'm spiritual, $1 million should pop up in my bank account. If that's how it works. But it don't work like that, right? Because spirituality is a lifestyle. It's a mentality. It's the way that you do everything, right? I'm not going to watch certain shit because I'm spiritual. I'm not going to listen to certain things because I am spiritual. I'm not going to eat certain things because I am spiritual, right? It's a lifestyle. If you see these people out here saying, oh, you can be spiritual and still do it. Ooh, what's going on? Okay. Wi-Fi reconnecting. If you see these people talking about you can be spiritual and still do whatever the fuck you want to do, you need to leave and run away from them quick, fast, and in a hurry. Okay? When I say you need to run fast, I mean don't pass go. Don't collect 200. Get the fuck quickly. Okay? Because that's somebody who is not learning. That's somebody who is not growing or evolving. Okay, you can't say you spiritual and then you stuck in the same place for the next 6 months. What the fuck you been doing? Just saying you spiritual? That's not a band-aid, right? Okay, I got people calling me. Damn Wi-Fi going in and out. What the fuck going on? But yeah, it's not a band-aid. Spirituality is not a band-aid. Spirituality is not stitches. Okay? Spirituality is surgery. You got to go all the way up in there and rewire some shit. Okay? You got to reroute it. I've been watching Grey's Anatomy. I love me some Grey's Anatomy. Okay? This is a sidebar. I really love me some Grey's Anatomy. Meredith and Derek are some of the only two Caucasian people that I just really love me some them. And Miranda, but we talk about the Caucasians that I actually like. Okay? I like those two Caucasian people. But I've been watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy. And if you ever watched Grey's Anatomy, if you ever looked at any surgeries, period, right? We know Derek Shepherd, if you watch Grey's Anatomy, is a neurologist, okay, or neurological surgeon, okay? He does surgery on the brain. And if he hits the wrong thing in that brain, it's going to stop other things from working in the body. Right? If he go in there and he push this to the left too far, or finesse this a little bit too much, or touch this even just a little bit, or prick this even just a tad, that person could have severe life altering injuries based on that. Right? And that's how you gotta look at your life. Look at your life as a delicate ass brain. If you touch something the wrong way, you could fuck something up horribly. Right? You let the wrong person into your life, that can cost you 5 years. Come on now. I went through it myself. I let the wrong motherfucker in, and it literally cost me 5 years. Literally. To the number. All right, you work the wrong job. That can cost you 10 years of your time, your energy, right? Something that you could be putting towards something else or your own shit, right? So we really have to maneuver this life way more delicately than we do. And we don't think of our lives as being so delicate, but it is. Because even though time doesn't exist, we can't go backwards. After you have an experience, that experience is had. You can't erase it. It's done. And that's it. Once you've been in that relationship, you've been in that relationship. You can't undo it. You can't go back. You can't go back and get all them days back that you had with that person and redo them with somebody else or redo them with yourself. You can't do it. So when you're living in the moment, it saves you the time that you're so scared of. Because if I'm living in the moment, that means I have an opportunity to do it the right way, at my own pace, and get it done the way it's supposed to be done, the way it needs to be done, the way it should be done. Right? Instead of being controlling and thinking about, oh, but how is this going to affect next week? And oh, what am I going to do for next month? And oh, what about next year? And now I haven't focused on anything that can actually help me because I'm no longer focused on what's in front of me. Right? Before, if I see a flight of 15 stairs, am I going to think about the first the 13th step? No, I got to step up the first step. The steps in front of me are the only steps that I'm worried about when I'm walking up the fucking stairs. Why the fuck am I worried about the 15th step if I ain't even putting my foot on the first or second? I can't even make it to 15 if I ain't first put my foot on the first or second step. Right? So that's life. If I'm not first focused on what's happening in the present moment, how can I even navigate what's coming up in the future? Because everything that is happening right now is helping me get to that future place that I want to get to. Which means I need to put the time into right now instead of putting the time into mentally thinking about tomorrow or next week or whatever other time I'm thinking about. Same thing with actual things. You know, if I'm thinking about bills. Okay. If right, let's say I got a bill due on the 16th. Today is the 8th, right? That's 8 days. Let's say I got a bill due in 8 days. I gotta pay this bill by the 16th, or they're gonna cut my shit off or put me out or whatever. Some type of consequence. Okay? Now, what if today I'm focused on the present moment? Nothing screams to me solution. Nothing screams to me solution. Okay, cool. I wake up tomorrow, focus on the present moment. Nothing screams solution. Right? But I wake up on Saturday and my intuition says, go to the park. Like, go to the park. Why the fuck would I go to the park? I ain't been to the park in I don't know how long. Or I ain't never been to that park. Or it's cold. Why the fuck would I go to the park? But my intuition said go to the park. Right? So let's say that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Let's say I'm like, all right, cool. My intuition said go to the park. Even though I don't understand why going to the park would be useful, let me get my black ass up and go to the park, right? I put my shit on and I go to the park. And I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm walking. And somebody comes up to me and they ask me a question about the park. Hey, have you been here before? I'm like, no, this is my first time being here at the park. Oh, okay. Well, I was just wondering because I just moved in the area and, you know, I help people with bill assistance and things of that nature. And, you know, I just came to the park because my office is up the street. The minute you think that shit like that can't happen to you, it won't. I told y'all my own story about that. I was working on building a specific type of business. I was interested in getting into a specific area of business. Right? And I was doing a whole bunch of research trying to figure out how I was going to do it, talking to different people who are already in it, you know, talking to, you know, different people who, you know, I could use to help me and assist me and things of that nature. And nothing was really coming together the way that I wanted to. Literally, that's why I say go to the park, because that's my own experience. My intuition told me to go to the lake. There's a lake right across the street from my house. Right? My intuition said go to the lake. It was in the summertime. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go walk the lake. Maybe I need to just decompress. Maybe I'm just too up on it. Because sometimes we can just be too up on things that we don't see clearly. So you got to take a little step back so you can reevaluate. Right? So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to the lake. Maybe, you know, my higher self intuition just want me to chill out. Right? So I take my little blanket, I pack my little bag, almost like a little picnic setup. It wasn't no food or nothing. I had my blunt, I had my notebook, I had my cards, I had my phone, my headphones, you know what I'm saying? Just a little chill, little vibe setup. Went out there, put my little blanket down, sat down, you know, and was minding my business. Had my headphones in. I'm listening to my music. I'm shuffling a couple of cards, you know, just to kind of get my head off of things. I'm journaling a little bit on TikTok, things of that nature. Randomly, okay? Randomly. Mind you, I'm on TikTok Live at the time. right? This is when I was still doing TikTok Live. So I'm on TikTok Live. And a guy who I seen running up and down running all around the track. Okay, I won't pay him no attention. I don't know if he was paying me no attention. I wouldn't know because I won't pay him no attention. I just kept seeing him go back and forth. Right? I'm not thinking of him as anything. He walks over to me, and he, starts conversation. Hey, I just moved into the area, and I do such and such and such. When I say I looked at him like I seen a fucking ghost, because the very thing that he said he just moved to the area and started doing was the very thing that I needed assistance with. It was in the same category that what he was doing I could use. It could help benefit me, and getting done the shit that I'm trying to get done. So I literally looked at him like I seen a fucking ghost, because in my head I'm like, is this real? I've been spiritual for a while, and I've had a lot of freaky deaky shit happen to me. But it doesn't matter how many experiences I've had, chills still run up my motherfucking spine when certain things happen. Because it is so like, that is what you call divine timing or divine intervention. Remember when I told you divine timing doesn't just happen to people? You gotta make divine timing happen. How do you make divine timing happen? By doing what the fuck you're supposed to do. If your intuition say go left, you go left. If it say go right, you go right. And eventually you're going to be met with whatever is on that path waiting for you. That's divine timing. When you meet the things that are waiting for you. So because I got the fuck up and I didn't get lost in my head, because there's plenty of times where I felt the need, my intuition said go to the lake and I didn't feel like it. So who knows what I missed. But that day that I went, something was there waiting on me. And I was able to connect with this person, and I'm doing business with this person at this point. Right? So you don't get into a place. That's why I say healing is so important, childhood healing. Because again, based on our childhood, if we have never been in control or things have never felt like it went right for us as children, we become these hypochondriac type of adults who are always just anxious and worried and controlling. We got to start controlling people. This when you get controlling your relationships and you become codependent. You always want to know where you at, what you doing. Like them females that be like, oh, I want to be in my man's skin. Baby, that's called codependency. Okay? I don't want to be in nobody's motherfucking skin. I like having my own time to myself because I've learned how to create peace and solitude for myself to the point where I miss it when I don't have it for a long time. I don't care how much I love you. I need my time to myself. Okay? So based on your childhood, based on the things that you went through, is going to make you the type of adult who either does certain things or doesn't do certain things. Think in a certain way or don't think in a certain way. And you got to figure out what side of the spectrum you're on so that you can go back and heal it, fix it, and continue to remind yourself of that lesson every time you're presented with those similar experiences. Right? Like I said, the challenges never stop. So you're always going to be challenged, especially with the things that you're healing and you're working on. Right? It's not no coincidence that once you start trying to be spiritual, all of this shit start popping up in your life. Ain't no coincidence, babe. That's how it works. Opposites attract. So when there's a whole lot of peace, a whole lot of love, some negativity got to make its way there. When you winning and you winning and you winning, some losses got to come and sneak up in there. Right? It got to happen. That's how it goes. But it's all in the way that you respond. It's all in the way that you look at it. It's all in the way that you feel about it. And it's all in the way that you, again, perceive it. Okay? So hopefully this was helpful to a lot of you guys. I know that, being an air sign and having a lot of air in my big three and in my chart, it really, really puts me in my head, probably a little bit more than other people. But we all get to a place where we overthink. Whether you do it a lot, whether you do it a little bit, whether you do it, based on the situation, it doesn't matter. This is something that we all deal with. And being present in the moment is so important in helping you actually move forward and create the things that you want. So I'm going to give y'all 2 quick tools that I use to get present in the moment. The first thing is sometimes I rub whatever finger is at the time. I do it subconsciously at this point. But I'll rub on a finger. Okay, why am I doing this? Because I'm putting pressure on my finger and it's immediately making my brain think about where that pressure is coming from, right? Which immediately snaps me out of overthinking. I can't think, the mind can't focus on more than one thing at a time, right? It doesn't work like that. So if I'm putting this pressure on my fingers, some people may pinch themselves. Some people may, I've seen people rub their hands together or do different things, pinch their legs or stuff like that. Whatever you can do to draw attention to a place on your body or something like that, it's going to immediately snap you out of overthinking, because you can't overthink whatever you're thinking about and focus on where that sensation is coming from. You can't do both. You got to pick one. Okay? Even as I'm talking, when I start doing this, I immediately snap out of what the fuck I'm saying and I start focusing on my finger. My attention span goes from y'all to this. Okay? So that's one thing that is super, super helpful. Another thing that is helpful is your five senses, right? Ask yourself about your five senses. What do I hear right now? If I close my eyes right now, what do I hear? I hear the birds outside my window. Right? I can hear the TV going on out downstairs. Okay? Doing that's going to immediately put you into the current moment, because you got to focus on what the fuck is going on around you, right? What do I smell? Okay? What do I smell? I smell outside coming from the window. I smell my perfume. You know what I'm saying? I smell my upper lip. It don't stink. It just, I can smell it. Okay? So what do I smell? What can I see? What can I observe with my eyes? Right? Okay? And then what can I taste? Taste is also something that helps. That's why now you can go a little bit too far with taste. Okay? This is when you get people that stress eat and things of that nature. Okay, because it takes your mind off of it and you focusing on the taste buds. Don't focus on the taste buds too much where you end up on my 600-pound life. Okay, take it easy. All right, but tapping into your five senses will immediately put you in the present moment. Okay, another thing that is helpful is journaling. Pull out your journal and start writing, right? Because when you can get the things that you are overthinking out of your head, usually there's no point of thinking about it no more. Instead of passing that thought around back and forth like a volleyball, you just put it on the paper. And use that does the trick for, a lot of people. It doesn't work for everybody, because again, this is why they're called tools. That's why it's more than one. Because everybody is different and different things work for different people. Different strokes for different folks. Okay? But journaling can help you get all of those things out of your head and put it on paper so that you can forget about it. Now, if you do want to use the journaling method, I suggest you journal daily, even if you're overthinking or not, because getting things out of your head and putting it on paper, period, is super helpful. Super helpful, especially if you have a problem with carrying things from the current day into the next day. You should never be waking up mad about something that happened yesterday. You should never be waking up already sad or already anxious or already worried. You should never be in that type of energy. Once you open your eyes, you got a whole new day. You got a fresh however many hours. You got a whole new energy to work with. Why are you still mad? Why are you still upset? Okay? So journaling the night before is super helpful in allowing you to let go, release, talk your shit, get it out, so that once you go to sleep, you wake up and you are able to embrace the new day and live in that present moment. Okay? So again, for those who are interested, I am doing a 3-hour shadow work and ancestor healing seminar on Thursday night, which is tomorrow. If you are interested, it is $35. This does include $5 off of any healing or reading service. If you plan on booking any healing or reading services in the future, you will get $5 off of that. This will be available up until 8:30 p.m. tomorrow. So if you get paid tomorrow, don't worry about it. You can reach out to me either via my inbox. You can look in the description of this video and get all of my socials, or you can look at the bottom of the screen and my email is going across the bottom of the screen, and you can email me to get more information. Also, the 21st of November, I will be doing a 3-hour seminar on birth charts and zodiology. So for those who want to learn how to read your birth chart, how to utilize your birth chart, how to manifest with your birth chart, how to understand it better, things of that nature, I'll be going over that, as well as breaking down all 12 zodiac signs, so that you guys can understand your chart even more. Remember, we are not just our sun sign. So me being a sun sign Gemini, I'm not just a Gemini. I also have a Gemini moon. I also have a Sagittarius rising. So I'm composed of at least, two signs just in my big three, and that doesn't even include my houses, my house placements, or my other planetary placements. Okay, so we have a lot of different signs that make us who we are, and the more you know about each of those signs, the more you're able to understand how you are affected by that particular sign in whatever space it may be showing up for you on your birth chart. Okay, this seminar also comes with a free birth chart. So if you do not have your birth chart already, and you need it, definitely go ahead and reach out, so that I can send it to you, get you booked for the seminar. And then by the time the seminar comes, you have already kind of read over your birth chart a little bit, got familiar with it, and you're able to get more information. Okay, of course, all of my other services are available. My healing services, my mentoring services, consultations are still available. November and December do get really, really busy, so don't second guess it. If you are, your intuition, again, intuition, if your intuition is telling you to book, even if it's with me or somebody else, I don't care. Go get the help that you need. The winter time, the cold seasons are the best time for healing, because we're pretty much in the house for the most part. You do a couple things here and there, lots of family events and things of that nature, but for the most part, we're in the house because it's cold outside, and it's just kind of the time to kind of tap in. It's hibernation season, it's rejuvenation season, resting season. So this is the perfect time to heal, the perfect time to work on yourself, it's the perfect time to get started with your journey. Okay, I do have another special that I'm thinking about doing. I know some people don't really like to do the one-on-one mentorship because they can be a little scared. So I am going to be bringing back the group mentorships. I think I'm going to start with 5 people, where we do group healing. So basically everybody will go through the mentorship together, so that way you have people to lean on, people to talk to, people who are going through the same thing you're going through, and we all kind of go through it together. For anyone who has already done any of my mentorships, you already know how it goes. Lots of information, especially how we used to do it. If you was in some of the first ones that I did, you know that we used to do the really big groups of people. We used to have 20 plus people in our classes at that point, and it was spanned over 4 weeks. We did weekly Zooms and different things of that nature. So I'm thinking about bringing that back. If you are interested in that type of healing, definitely let me know. I do a lot of things once y'all let me know that you need it, because I got a lot of services that I offer. So if I was posting all of my services all day, y'all would be fucking tired of me. So if you do find any of these things helpful, or if there are other services that you're interested in that you may not see me post, it doesn't mean I don't do it. It just means that no one has really requested it in a while, so it kind of, been to the side. A lot of people have been doing a lot of one-on-one mentorships, which is why I haven't been doing the group ones so much. But if you are interested in that type of healing, and you want to do it maybe like a friend or a sister or a confidant or a spouse or whatever, let me know, because those options are available. Okay, so other than that, light and love, definitely make sure you go check out your November reading. I did all 12 zodiac signs, so definitely go check that out on YouTube. Also look at our message Mondays. I did a reading for the star seeds, or the chosen ones, or the kings, queens, empress, whatever you want to call yourself. Okay, check that out. It's definitely some things that kind of resonated from what we talked about today, that we also talked about on Monday. We will be back tomorrow for our Think Tank Thursdays. I'm going to get into some topics. I'm going to touch on the Palestine and Israel thing that's going on. I've been holding off on talking about it because I kind of wanted some things to kind of come to light first, as I knew that it would, and it did. So I'm going to kind of expound on that a little bit tomorrow, as well as some other topics that are kind of going around. So definitely join me back tomorrow. I'm trying to figure out the best times to go live. I used to do them kind of during lunchtime, like 12:30, 1 p.m. And then I started realizing that most people kind of tune in after 2 or after 3. So y'all kind of let me know, like, what's the best times that y'all feel like y'all be, on social media, or have the time to kind of sit back and watch lives. Because I do want you guys to be able to, I know a lot of people like to watch them in time, even though everything is saved on YouTube or on Facebook. I do know a lot of you guys like to, be on the actual live while it's going on. So I'm trying to figure out the best time where, you know, everybody can kind of, not everybody, but most people can engage and be able to tune in. So yeah, feel free to share that with me. Okay, some people said 2:30 sounds good. Okay, so for now we'll just keep it with, you know, at least 2:30, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and just go with the flow from there. Other than that, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If anything that you heard you like and you want to, there you go, you want to send any type of donation or show your thanks, my cash app is at the bottom. Other than that, light and love to all of you guys, and I will see y'all tomorrow, same time, same place. Yeah, peace.